Anita. Very good boy. Who's a good boy? Alrighty. I would like to issue an apology to everyone, all in each and single one of everyone, and every you and every me I've ever said something along the lines, ever told something along the lines of Returnal is like the best fucking game this generation. In fact, it's the only game that matters, and it's by far the best one. It's the only one. It's the only one that matters. Now, until Returnal, I was not familiar with what the studio made before, and it was basically just a bunch of like top-down shooters. Twin. Oh my goodness. It's just like out of a horror movie type of thing. You need to stop twitching. So it's just like a bunch of twin stick shooters, shoot 'em ups, stuff like that. Pretty interesting stuff. I'm not really in the scene for games like this, but it's actually, they have quite a history of making video games like that, and since they're still in the business, I assume it's not going to be anywhere on the ground, Mo. It's a squirrel. It's nice that, the scene is alive, so that a studio pretty much only making that kind of game can even exist. Or I don't know, maybe they exist in some form of, just like a stream of grants. How do you pronounce it? House marquee? Anyway, I don't know if they exist on a stream of grants, government support, or just, someone very wealthy. I mean, obviously Sony backs them up, but Sony wouldn't be backing them up if they didn't make cash. So, and I don't know how much cash, honestly, those shooters they've been doing, well, until Returnal, obviously, how much cash those games could have made, honestly. I don't know. Well, what I do know is that Returnal is a hella fucking impressive game. Along with, what's that other game? Fucking Sony boy game, the electronic Sackboy video game, that tech demo that Sony had for PS5 that was later developed. I think it was this year, right, in 2025. Maybe it was late 2024, actually, I don't remember. It was developed into like a proper platforming game, which I heard is pretty impressive technologically. Gameplay wise, it's also pretty alright, but I heard that it's like easy AF. So I don't know, it's a PS5 exclusive, so I don't really care all that much. I mean, I would have to be crazy to be buying PS5 right now. I mean, like, before even something like Steam Deck, before building myself a proper computer. Are you kidding me? Like, buying PS5? I mean, unless I just find one, in the trash. You're never gonna see me with one, I'm sorry. Or if Bloodborne 2 comes out, I actually have money for the console and it's exclusive to PS5, because some of you may remember that I bought a PS4 when I was relatively tight on the money, when I was living in Japan. I bought a PS4 to get midnight release of Dark Souls 3. So it wouldn't be... but I was not as jaded back then. Back then, I actually had faith in From Software. Oh, wow. I remember the days. I remember myself having faith in From Software. It was nice. It was nice having an actual kind of like hero of sorts. The feeling of a company being there who kind of like advocated for you, It was nice. It was nice having it. It's like CD Projekt Red. Wasn't it nice when CD Projekt wasn't shit? It was really cool, right? To have this like hero of a kind there, knowing that someone's fighting there for you. Wasn't it fucking nice, guys? Wasn't it nice having Total Biscuit? Wasn't it nice having CD Projekt Red? Wasn't it nice having From Software, being non-slop? Yeah. And If you think Elden Ring is non-slop, dude, I'm sorry. It's probably your first From Software game. I'm very happy for you. I hope you have all the fun you can out of that game, okay? That's it. I apologize for hurting your feelings. I get that it's fun. I get it. I get that you're having fun. Okay, moving on. So, Housemarque, Housemark, whatever. Literally did not even know they existed, right? Until Returnal. And then Returnal came, and I was like, the hell is this? By whom? Well, I don't care by whom and what it is. I don't care that it's literally the only other game out there that actually utilizes like modern tech. Like, have you seen the amount of particles in that game? Yeah, that's something that pretty much would be technically impossible on PS4, although actually not, because I ended up running that game on a 2016 mid-range pseudo, not even really gaming laptop. Actually does work on a 44 something whatever i7. So i7 from 2015 and GTX 960. Okay, that game does run at approximately 30 FPS. And it's actually playable because the game is strangely responsive even at low FPS like that. You know, like some games are just unplayable unless you run them at least at 60. This game, something about the engine or something about how the game was, you know, not made in being tied to the frame rate from soft, that actually the game retains most of its kind of like snappiness and most of its response time, even at low FPS. It's actually like the game feels really surprisingly good. Many other games, like I don't know, take Warframe. I mean, imagine playing Warframe at 30 FPS. It would be literally unplayable. You wouldn't be able to aim even. So, no, with Returnal, you actually can. So that's pretty interesting. But legitimately, that game 100% would have been playable on PS4. On PS4 Pro, definitely. No, 100%. It would have run. I don't know if there is a PS4 version, or is it a PS5 exclusive? Well, like next gen exclusive. Boo, I don't have my literally all the fucking ground. Like the forest floor is just all poison ivy. It's ridiculous. And it grows on everything. Like, I don't know what to do with this. I heard that you can, if you like carefully aim so that you don't kill two of many other plants, you could technically, sorry, I did it again. You could just like individually spray all of the poison ivy that you see with stuff and it might die, but there's so much. Are you kidding me? And like, we're not talking garden, we're not talking backyard anymore. This is like fucking forest. There's like, and all of it, like basically most of the greenery you see right now here is poison ivy. Like it's probably gonna be like, do any of you guys have any experience? Like it'll probably be thousands, right? In like poison costs. And it's not that big a deal. And why the hell would you even want to do it? Well, because like, I don't know if you see, and I don't know if you remember from like my previous streams, but me and the doggo, we used to walk there all the time in the winter and in spring, and we do it in the fall. And in the summer, we just cannot do it. It's not even that much, ooh, there's spiders there because everything is overgrown. Well, fuck the spiders, fuck the overgrownness, but like there's poison ivy everywhere, you know? I don't want to go on a walk and 2 days from then wake up, you know, like I've been boiled in my sleep. You know, I don't. Okay, cannot be standing in place too much. No, let's go. Come on, too much mosquitoes and stuff. So yeah, all those particle effects and stuff. Moo, have you not heard me? Come on. Aini. Come. Very good boy. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Oh, my boy. Alrighty. No, that just density, that level of density of particle effects, like the teleportation effects in Returnal, are you kidding me? We have never seen that many particles, like ever. But trust me, if my laptop can handle it, at 30 FPS, PS4 Pro could handle it as well. It's just that Sony would not allow itself to release a game, right, with the setting option for like 720p 60. So 720p, just period. 30 or 60. But no, in 720p the game looks actually strangely sharp. I think there is an automatic sharpening filter that kicks in at lower resolutions. I'm, in fact, almost entirely convinced there is. And it works rather well. Just like how I played Diablo 4. Diablo 4 cannot run in full screen. Diablo 4 only runs in borderless window of the native resolution of your system. So for me, I decided not to fuck with the native resolution of my system. With the Returnal, by the way, with Returnal I had to lower resolution of my entire desktop, because that's the resolution the game was actually defaulting to, which was interesting. So the resolution in the settings of Returnal is actually the rendering resolution. But I actually don't even think it's just the rendering resolution. I don't know. The game just kept opening in full HD for me, I think, like 1080p. Yeah, it's not even the rendering resolution. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with that setting. Anyway, I had to change the desktop resolution in order to get 720p out of it. And well, basically what Diablo 4 does, it opens a borderless full screen window that you cannot change the resolution of. It's just like the native resolution of your desktop. But you can separately change the render resolution. And I changed the render resolution of my giant ultra-wide window. I changed it to something like 55%, and I literally cranked the sharpening thing to max. And guess what? The game is actually playable. Like, without sharpening, no, the game looks just like messy blur that you cannot like see, right? With like render resolution lowered. You can't see anything. It looks like shit. But if you bump up sharpening, it's actually playable. And I'm pretty sure Returnal has something like that, because from my knowledge, if you were to play in 720p, it would look hella blurry. Almost to the point where I just wouldn't be able to see anything really. And I fucked with the settings a little bit. I turned off, the engine .ini file. I was able to turn off anti-aliasing completely, because Returnal, just like many other modern games, has a form of anti-aliasing that you cannot fully turn off. You can only choose between like a shitty one or a good one. And the shitty one, I honestly have no idea why it's in video games even. It literally does nothing. It just makes everything look blurry. I turned off chromatic aberration a little bit, because basically the way chromatic aberration works on that game, I don't even think it's chromatic aberration. It's more of a depth of field type of effect. It makes a bunch of things way blurrier than they need to be. I turned off vignetting. Oh my god, vignetting in that game is so bad. It makes everything like twice as dark. It's ridiculous how brighter and cleaner that game is without vignetting. Vignetting in Returnal is just ridiculous. I do not understand how you people play video games on consoles. And of course, if you have ultra-wide, the game beautifully, zero issues, playable on ultra-wide. FOV is not super adjustable, but cranked up to 211, it's playable. It's playable. So yeah, like how you can play that on console, I cannot imagine. Also, that game absolutely was made for mouse and keyboard. Like absolutely for mouse and keyboard. It was very obvious what the developers did to make it more playable on the controller, because the game basically has like auto aim. in most situations. Like most guns shoot projectiles that kind of curve towards enemies in rather like super obvious way. In fact, it's like really obvious. I think it was done so that the game is like, hey, we're not hiding that from you, okay? You don't need to be like super precise. Yeah, well, I don't know. Is it really even all that next gen-y, all things considered, if it can run on my computer, even with all those particles? Because yeah, the density of particles, like with the teleportation effect, is insane. It looks insane even on my computer. So yeah, no, PS4 definitely could have handled it, just like PS4, especially PS4 Pro, could have handled Bloodborne at 720p 60. But Sony and FromSoft cannot do it. They cannot be fucked, because all they care about is the density of pixels. You know, so they cannot go to 720p, even if it means a difference between 30 and 60 FPS. They wouldn't be able to do it. That's why consoles are in the past. We're leaving consoles behind. I don't know anyone who's a console gamer at this point. Anyone who would have been a console gamer these days is just like a Steam Deck owner, essentially. And even if you don't need it to use it like as portably, well, deck it. Literally deck it, buy a deck for a dock it, you know? And just, it's like a Nintendo Switch for grown-ups, you know? Okay, well, anyway, Returnal, other than being basically one of two really next-gen games, as far as I could tell, the other one being that tech demo for PS5, for that, like, whatever, computery looking Sackboy from Little Big Planet. Because, yeah, that game also had a bunch of stuff that was just like, whoa, that's a lot of particles, dude. You know, on previous generation, effects like that could only be achieved with shaders, and now it's actually achieved with like particles. It's impressive for a bit. I suppose technically you could also say that what's that Ratchet and Clank game that everyone forgot about 1 week after it came out. Despite being a huge fan of Ratchet and Clank, dude, played those games, like, I play them every day still. I'm a huge fan, I'm the biggest fan, yeah. Yeah, only you never talked about it until the game was announced, and then the game came out, you reviewed it, and then you never talked about it again, huh? Funny how that works. Well, what do you want me to do? You know, Stalker 2 is coming out, I need to be talking about that now. Yeah, dude, you know, people who are fans of something, they talk about it all the time. Like, I talk about Bayonetta all the time because I play it all the time, because I'm a huge fan, you know. People talk about DMC all the time, even when they don't talk about it. Even when they are not playing it currently, because, you know, that's just something that's on their mind, because that's their whole identity is tied to it. Yeah, apparently you're a huge Ratchet and Clank fan. Well, where are you, guys? Where are you, all the Ratchet and Clank fans? Like, I don't think there's that many of you. I don't think that game was all that legendary, to be perfectly honest with you. So it came out, right? And its thing was that you would jump between completely different, very highly rendered environments very, very quickly, demonstrating how fast the read speeds of that SSD Sony put into PS5, and how fast the RAM is, and VRAM, obviously. No, that's just marketing bullshit. All of those transitions between worlds, all of those worlds could be pre-buffered, you know, between the jumps. In fact, they were. And like, in terms of speeds necessary to do what Ratchet and Clank, that fractured rift asshole, something like that, whatever it was called. Any other RAM, any other VRAM, and whatever best SSD you could buy just normally on the market would be plenty enough, you know, for that game to do those transitions that it does. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, some older games that otherwise back in the day would have had like a 5-second long, you know, load screen, now they don't have load screens anymore. Like, look at the like PS5 remake, the demake of Demon Souls, right? Like, look, no loading screens. Woo, whatever, you know, dude. Literally, honestly, whatever. Like, if you were to buy a computer with the fastest SSD, put the fastest RAM in it, have the bestest, you know, bestest graphics card, you know, with the fastest VRAM, well, you could have a like load times of, I don't know, 1 second, or maybe just like a 1.5 seconds stagger during those teleportations, instead of just like a 3-second animation of the teleportation anyway. Well, there's your loading screen, you know. Or you know, a similar game could have, on just, you know, the specs of a computer that you would make yourself with the available components, you would have a 3-second long loading screen. Now we have a 3-second long animation, as if that animation does not exist to hide loading. Right? So, like, yeah, no. The fact that, ooh, PS5 can load things so fast. Yeah, modern computers running, you know, modern SSDs can load things just as fast. Maybe purely numbers-wise not, but in practice, trust me, they do. All right, the practical use of SSDs is the loading. The video game loading technology is not being held back by the speeds of SSDs, you know, available on the market currently. Sony is not really breaking into a new technology with the speeds they have with their SSD, you know. And who the fuck knows? Every single SSD that's not made by Samsung dies within half a year anyway. Like, do you really want to experiment with that shit all that much? Like, do we really want that? Do we really need that? Or do we just want to buy, you know, just the same old that we know at least will not die tomorrow, and be happy with what we have, which is, you know, write and read speeds of, I don't know, 100 times what, you know, hard disks were capable of, or are still capable of. I don't know. I am doing absolutely fine. My SSD, which I played Returnal on, is still, it's like a Samsung, you know, typical old SATA Samsung from, I don't know, man. Well, definitely over 10 years ago, I bought it, and the SSD itself probably came out like 15 years ago or something. Yeah, I know, things are biting, ain't they? That's because you're standing in one place. Cannot stand here, we need to be moving. And we're not going there either, no. Onward. Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. So I looked at Returnal and I said, you know what? This is a gamey-ass game. This is not only a video game, all right. It's not a Sony slop, although it is a Sony of a kind, right? But it's not a Sony slop. It's not The Last of Us. It's not the Dad of War. The Dad of War. It's not the God of War. And I thought, well, it's essentially kind of like Warframe meets MDK meets like Risk of Rain meets basically Metroid Prime. Awesome. Absolutely effing awesome. I don't really care much for the procedural generation. I don't really care much for the roguelite elements. Ultimately, I would probably prefer it to be not a sandbox, but kind of like an open world exploration game, you know, like an actually designed open world exploration game in the vein of something like Subnautica, maybe, for example, right? Like actually design something that can be explored. And with elements of Metroidvania, right? Honestly, don't just make it. Again, Subnautica is pretty open from beginning, although there are blocks of how much you can explore. If you really want to, you can pretty much explore 100% of it, right? But no, sure, I mean, make it so that you can sequence break it, but make it a bit of a Metroidvania, right? Make it like a game of exploration. Well, no, it's not really a game of exploration, right? Because it's a roguelite. It's kind of like, you know, you only explore if you feel like maybe getting a few more items, see if you can get a bit stronger before attempting the next boss. And you really don't have to do it because the game is actually so easy. I pretty much completely stopped. I started ignoring side rooms since Biome 5. Because in Biome 5, side rooms, you pretty much no longer get side rooms. There is just like one small room with the bonus. Right? It's actually kind of like an additional mini challenge room, right? And I was just like thinking, okay, you know, F it. Like, I don't care. Let's just go forward. Like, I don't care wasting, you know, any time, any more time. I'm not gonna get much stronger anyway. You know, there will be plenty of upgrades on the main path, and I have plenty of currency. I don't need any more currency, you know, and I highly doubt there's going to be anything particularly valuable in that room. When it was just a room with like an object, right? So like biomes, you know, 1 to 4, it's, yeah, sure, I'm going to check it out, what's in that room. But when you know that whatever is in that room is behind a combat sequence, I just started to get bored with it. So here's the thing. I just described to you basically the combat. If you ever played Warframe, if you ever played like Risk of Rain, or another good example is Control. Imagine Risk of Rain that looks like Metroid Prime with graphical fidelity of like Warframe, but with actual, you know, artistry of Metroid Prime, and kind of like technological sophistication of modern engines, right? Not fucking like Unreal Engine 3, which is Warframe, and like artistic sophistication of you know, Warframe is also pretty much just, you know, Unreal Engine asset store. Yeah, so it looks like Metroid Prime, but with a little bit of a kind of like Geigery feel to it all, a little bit of Cthulhu-ish in the mix. The game starts very interesting. The game looks absolutely amazing. It looks like the sick isekai, legitimately alien world. Like, think of Prey 2018, for example. Remember how Prey, despite being an underwhelming game, it absolutely nailed one thing. Aliens in Prey 2018 were legit aliens. They weren't just like green humans. No, they were legit aliens. You couldn't process them. You couldn't understand them. You couldn't even understand if they perceived you, you know? It was a legitimately alien entity. And that's what Metroid Prime is like, right? The world of Metroid Prime is the world of what the hell is this even? Like, this is a completely different plane of kind of like perception, so to speak. And that's the Cthulhu stuff also, right? Because like, we're not talking about any kind of god that's kind of like a Greek god, right? Well, Greek god is just a dude who's really powerful, right? No, Cthulhu god is something that, or even Christian god, right? Like, Christian god is just like a really powerful dude. You could talk to him, you could ask him questions. Like, a Cthulhu god wouldn't even talk to you. I mean, it would, but you wouldn't be communicating with words of any kind. And most likely, again, there would be no communication. Like, if you were to attempt one, if the Cthulhu god attempted one, You would just don't even understand what's happening. You'd go crazy and or die. That would be it. And Returnal starts as kind of like that. It plays like Control, basically. Control by Remedy is a pretty good example. And it's supposed to be roguelike, or the game at least starts with that. The game promises you that it's like Dark Souls 2. You will die over and over again. Yet you will not even remember how many times you've died. You find all these audio recordings that you think are supposed to be your own audio recordings from the past that you don't even remember making because you're completely losing your mind. You died so many times. Guys, I died like 3 times in the entire game, and both of those times, once was due to I was playing at 20 FPS, okay, and I died to environment. Another time, the game was staggering as fuck when I first launched it, and literally, as soon as I started the game, my very first boss, it lunges at you, right? It's actually a mini-boss that you encounter. I think your first run has a pre-made structure. Like, you do encounter a bit of a mini-boss really, really early in your very first run. And the game was staggering like hell to me. And it staggered once, and I couldn't dodge because of that. And, like, boom, 50% of your HP gone. And it literally did the same thing again. It's like shader compiling, right? Shaders are compiling, so the game is staggering. It had staggered a bit more since then, but not as badly. And eventually it stopped staggering at all, obviously, because all the shaders were compiled. But yeah, I died to shader compilation in the very opening. Then later in the game, way later in the game, I died to environment. And one more time, it was in biome 4, so that's Act 2. I died once more, and I died once again to the second boss, because I got to that boss with I compromised. I experimented way too much with picking up random stuff, and I couldn't compensate for all the debuffs that I accumulated. I thought I would have the opportunity, but the biome just ended too quickly, and I approached the second boss so gimped, and I literally had like 1 pip of health left. So I actually got almost. I got like almost 50% into the fight. I got like almost halfway into the second phase of the fight. So yeah, narratively, in the way that the narrative ties into the gameplay, the game is supposed to be roguelike. In reality, it's a roguelite, and it's actually really easy. It's a really easy game. You dying and losing your mind is supposed to be part of the narrative. The game starts to write in the beginning, and it doesn't make any sense because you barely die in that game. Bosses, except for the first two bosses. The first 2 bosses, yeah, I can kind of see potentially maybe some people dying to them. I mean, I myself died to the second boss once, and that was it. I never first boss killed first attempt. Third boss is literally just a set piece. It's not even a fight. Fourth boss, you might die to it, hypothetically, but I didn't. It throws so much stuff at you, and I just tanked through all of it. And also, barely any of it just like even hits you organically. It just kind of like flies around you. It doesn't even hit you most of the time. Then, spoiler alert, biome 5 doesn't have a boss at all. That's interesting. I wonder if they were running out of money, out of Sony money. And biome 6, boss hits pretty hard, but so the final boss of the game hits pretty hard, yes, but it's a gimmick fight also. It's not as much a set piece as boss 3, but it's also it's a gimmick fight. Like, once you realize the gimmick, because you may lose some health, you may lose a good piece of your health to figuring out how do I even do damage to this thing. God damn it, so annoying. But once you do, the boss just folds over completely, just folds in half. And yeah, like, that's the game. The game is actually really easy. It plays kind of like Control. So you have your dodges, you have your over-the-shoulder MDK type of like really fast-running character, like very Warframey, very MDK, not as much control-y, but the action itself, it's more controlled than Warframe. Like shooting does not work like Warframe, and dodging obviously doesn't work like Warframe. It works more like Control. I think Control has like side dodges too, right? Like dodge left, right. Well, that's it's very doomy. It has bullet hell elements, but they don't come into play really until basically the second boss. There is a little bit of bullet hell kind of like teasing in the second biome itself, but in the there is none at all, pretty much, in the first biome. I think the boss, the first boss does a little bit of bullet hell, but again, it's all actually very minimalistic. It's not very helly at all. If you know what bullet hell is, you're gonna be playing through Returnal and thinking it like, this it? Is this it, really? I hope there's like a hard mode or something like that. Nope, there isn't. The game is rather underwhelming in making use of its own bullet hell / actiony mechanics. The game doesn't really do much with all the mechanics it created for itself. It created a really nice set of tools to potentially even be somewhat of a, like, honestly, I wouldn't mind a Returnal to, if Returnal was something of a Warframe, I would have loved it. I would have sank so many hours into it. But no, it isn't. And you kind of you learn why, because once you push through into the biome 3, you find out that why is the game so easy suddenly? And yeah, that's true. All the challenge of the game, all the little challenge that the game has, is actually all very, very front-loaded. Now, don't get me wrong, I still respect the game much, but how do I say it? I mean, I like it, but I don't like girlfriend material like it, if you know what I mean. Like, I cannot imagine myself, marrying this chick. Now, it doesn't mean I don't like her, it's just that I know it will not work out. Why? Well, because the game ends up being all about its narrative, essentially. And don't get me wrong, it's a video gamey ass video game, all right? Okay, I'll put you in my It's a video game ass video game, all right? Don't get me wrong, but it so underutilizes its own. First of all, it doesn't deliver on the promise of it being a roguelike. Randomization is absolutely minimal. Randomization in this game does even less than it did in something like Remnant. If you remember how in Remnant, randomization literally did like almost nothing at all. Like 80% of the world, like all the main junctions were pre-designed anyway. And like, yeah, you shuffle around a few hallways. Like, what does that matter? There's like a pool of potential like 2 bosses per area, so you either get one or the other. Ooh, wow, such variation. And it is even possible that you'll play the game twice, because it's random. You can play through the game twice and get all the same bosses. So it's like, honestly, it's pretty embarrassing how randomization worked in Remnant, and honestly in Returnal. It looks almost to the same degree. Most of the important stuff is pre-designed. There is not even that many junctions that can be randomized anyway. Like on your very second run, you will notice that it's borderline the same thing. It's all the same, The room with the house in the first biome is the same. They couldn't even make like multiple versions of the same room, so that maybe the house could be on the other side, so that you could enter maybe the room from the other side. Just flip it, right? Just like flip it like this, boom. Like this is how the room normally, right? Like this is exit, this is entrance. Just flip it. Nope. They don't even do that. Like, it's ridiculous how similar those procedural generations of same biomes are. They might as well just have just designed the game normally. Just make it like Dark Souls, you know. Hey, you die, you go back. You know, it's like a Dark Souls type of a checkpoint system. If you die, you go back, and well, but you go all the way back. That makes it roguelike or roguelite. No, because after you defeat a boss of the area, you unlock an almost immediate shortcut back to the second biome, back to the next biome. So you don't have to go through the previous one basically at all. And even if you end up, well, if you end up thinking, oh, but if I cut straight to the next biome without completing the previous one, I will be severely underpowered. No, you will not, because at the beginning of every single biome, there's usually a healing item, a few healing items to basically kind of like make you whole again after the previous boss fight, and those items never go away. They're always there. You know, there's a bunch of healing items. There's sometimes even an artifact or two, just kind of like, you know, persistent buff. Or there is one thing. There is a thing that gives you weapon proficiency, which makes it so that the guns that drop higher level. So like if you cut straight to biome 2 from biome 1, for example, you pick up an item that gives you, and it like exponentially scales. All right, so you pick up an item from biome 2 that's supposed to up your weapon proficiency, and because it's from biome 2, it gives you so much XP, it immediately boosts you to like level 7 or 8 proficiency, or 3 or 4, whatever, wherever you're supposed to be at biome 2. So you basically get like 85% of the XP you would have gotten if you completed biome 1. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like you can kill 100 level 1 mobs, or you can kill like 1 level 2 mob. It's the same experience, right? So that's basically how it works in Returnal. You know, if you cut straight to biome 2, you get immediately, basically in the first 30 seconds, you get all of the experience you would have gotten if you grinded biome 1 for an hour. So yeah, once you complete biome 1, you basically just never do it again. So again, that's not a roguelike. That's not a roguelite even. Might as well just make it like just make it like Souls game basically at that point. Like, why do we even need this like procedural generation stuff? And procedural generation barely even does anything. Just like make the game properly, honestly, at this point. And I'm not saying that like they couldn't do it. They wouldn't be able to do it. I think they would be. I think it's just that they completely undercooked the procedural generation part to the point where it's annoying how pointless it is. And I know that if they designed the game properly, then people who really suck at video games and they keep replaying the same levels for some reason, it takes them like more than one try to complete the game, like it really shouldn't. But you know, you keep playing through the same levels and people would be like, level design sucks. It's all hallways. It's just all stupid hallways. I'm tired of running down the same hallways. But now the developer has the cope of, but it's not the same hallway. No, it's procedurally generated hallway. No, dude. It would have been even one thing if you just said it's procedurally generated hallway. It's actually not. It's like 90% actually it is the same hallway. So your procedural generation cope doesn't even work. Okay, so that's one part of the game. Already covered the fact that the game is super easy. When I looked at it, I thought, okay, you know what? This looks to me kind of like Doom Eternal, but more in a Metroid Prime type of setting. So I love it, and it's like third person. I love it. Isekai idea, true alien world. Love it. A bit of brutalist architecture, biomechanical stuff. Again, very Metroid Prime-y, or just Metroid-y in general. Love it. Love it, love it, love everything about it. Plus, it's very obvious, it was very obvious from the first trailer that this was going to be a video gamey ass game. Right? This is going to be no Sony like cinematic slop at all. And it isn't. It isn't. It's a video game ass game, absolutely. Only it completely falls apart in the fact how easy it is. It completely it basically becomes not even all that fun. Around biome 5, I just started yawing, like legit. Yeah, enemies are pretty. Enemies hit hard, starting from biome 5. Enemies hit hard, and you can legit probably you can die. If only there wasn't so many healing items and items that automatically resurrect you. You can literally buy a checkpoint per biome, and so like the checkpoint from the previous biome gets annulled, of course. Once you move into the next one, you cannot go back, so the checkpoint also, it's if you haven't used it, it goes away. I only used it once in biome 5, and that's it. Oh no, actually I also did it in biome 6 because I realized the game was about to end, and well, I might as well buy the checkpoint with my currency, because why not? Like I'm done with the game anyway, pretty much at this point. Yeah, there is no New Game Plus. After that, there is no hard mode or anything like that, so I was completely right. There is a way to get true ending, but I looked up that true ending, in order to get it, you basically need to grind like each biome multiple times, basically waiting for a random drop of a room that will have an item. And then you need to complete the game once more, and then you get the true ending, which isn't even a real true ending. It's just the same ending, but the game beats you over the head with the message more. Pretty much just done, for the people who didn't understand what the actual ending was. I did. So I looked up if there was anything more in the game, and yeah, there wasn't, just the true ending. I looked up how difficult it is to make, to get, and it's actually not that difficult, but it might take a lot of grind and a lot of just like endlessly rerunning the same dungeons until you get the correct room. So it's like MMO RPG style farming, farming a boss for a drop of a specific item, essentially. And like, F that, I'm not doing that. I may play Returnal a bit more. I probably will. But it's not, I'm not gonna sink too much time into it. No, I will not. Anyway, so yeah, the biggest problem of this game, well, I suppose there's two. First of all, the game is way too easy, and it's it never truly pushes you. It never truly pushes your reflexes. It never really pushes your, I don't know, like target prioritization or anything like that. It doesn't truly test you in the same way as like super challenging, even like a Diablo dungeon would. It never truly tests you or challenges you, like does a skill check, with any of the bosses. All the bosses are basically complete pushovers except for the first two. Like with the final boss of Act 2 and Act 1 are basically just being set pieces. The final boss of Act 1, Biome 3 meaning, is literally being just a set piece. It's a really cool one, but there is no challenge in it at all. I don't even know like how anyone could die in it. I mean, you could probably if you just like rolled a critical error. You rolled a critical one. You rolled a 1, right? And yeah, like sure, like cat stepped on your balls, and Mountain Dew got spilled all over your keyboard, and you didn't, and whatever, your computer exploded. Like, yeah, sure, whatever. Anything can happen. But realistically, if you're paying and paying attention, like, there's no way you can die there. It's just like physically impossible. In a way, I should even say that Control For what it's worth, Control is even challenging game. Control is infinitely more challenging than Returnal. Infinitely more challenging game. Especially, I think Control has multiple difficulty settings. I think, don't it? Doesn't it? I think it does. Does have quite a few, I think. Or even if it doesn't, like, trust me, I've had more trouble with, because some enemies in Control are just ass. And no, Returnal is very forgiving. The progression carries over a lot. You can barely die in the game, but the narrative is constructed around the idea that you're supposed to be like dying all the time, which is which you might think is somewhat, you know, makes things fall apart. Yeah, dude, go into all the poison ivy. Yeah, fantastic idea. And then I will, you know, rub it all over me then. Yeah, fantastic. Well, anyway, so starting from Act 2, which is Biome 4, the game does a huge switch to which it was absolutely foreshadowing. It was absolutely foreshadowing that switch, and everyone saw it a mile away. I saw it, but I thought, okay, well, it's very obvious that the game is going for a bit of an Interstellar / Silent Hill or like Solaris type of story where the planet is psychic. The planet is, it's a therapist planet. It's a therapy planet. It's a Silent Hill planet. I get it. And you think, okay, well, all right, but it's still sci-fi. It's the kind of sci-fi type of sci-fi, right? You land on an alien planet, and there's your mom waiting for you. And you say, "Mom, what the hell? What are you doing here?" Mom looks at you, and she tells you, "I'm here because you've got problems, my son. And we're about to talk about it. But before we do, watch me die repeatedly." You know, and yeah, okay, cool. It's sci-fi, all right, technically, but it's sci-fi usually made by people who don't have enough imagination to come up with something truly alien and simultaneously, like, scientifically-ish explainable. It's a very Christopher Nolan type of sci-fi, and no one really respects it, and hardly anyone enjoys it. But I was like, okay, all right, it's that kind of sci-fi. Well, I guess it's a modern game, so what the hell was I expecting? Actual Metroid Prime type of shit? Silly me, silly me. Well, it's still a video game. It's not a movie game. It's still a video game. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna keep playing it. And oh my god, guys, you have no idea what this game devolves into. As the game becomes boring and easy to the point of boring, it devolves into being nothing but about mommy issues of the main heroine. And you might say, well, you have all the mommy issues in the first act. Yes, you have mommy issues in the first act, but they are portrayed through the whole thing of what the hell is happening. Is the planet like talking to me through these visions, so to speak, right? Through this Silent Hill therapy. And well, no, it doesn't. In Act 2, it becomes very Ein. Okay. Ein, come on. Oh, god damn it. Ein. Enough, I told you.
Don't, if they're ever out, don't put your hands down.
Not going to. This is not necessary.
Come on.
This is not necessary. Enjoying the show. Necessary. This is not necessary. This is not necessary. Necessary. No, not necessary. No. No. This is not how we say hi. We don't say hi like that. It's not. This is not our hi. Okay. Let's go. Oh. Sorry, I needed both hands for this. Aini. Aini, come the fuck here. Aini. Aini, I'm a bit busy here. Come on. Come in. You mean? I apologize for the interruptions, but well, tis the nature of the live streaming type of stuff. You can fast forward if you're probably watching it, right? As a VOD. Not going to film my neighbors, but yeah, they've been Frenchy, if I'm not mistaken. Come in. Come in. Yes. All right. Okay, well, at any rate, right? So what ends up happening? Fucking kids' voices. Now let's. A mosquito. Okay, you're being eaten here. Okay, come on, let's go out of here. Fucking mosquitoes, mate. So yeah, Act 1. So the first 3 biomes, right? The game pretty much just makes it seem like it's an interstellar type of thing. It's a contact type of thing, as in, like, yeah, the planet is being a therapist, but it is still an alien planet. It is still sci-fi, right? It is still space. But no, with Act 4, it becomes very obvious that not only the trope of this game becomes space as therapy, space as a form of therapy, the theme becomes, well, not even, sorry, the theme, the tone, just look at this fucker. The tone becomes all about the mommy issues of the protagonist. And I've been thinking, okay, from this point on, Biome 4, it is like almost 80% chance that this whole thing is just a dog's dream, that none of this is real. It becomes so goddamn obvious that it will probably end up all being a dream or a therapy session, and ding, 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 it was. In fact, it was so obvious, I was thinking, well, it would be too easy for the writers. It would be too obvious of a move to make it all a therapy session. There's just absolutely no way that everything, all of this, like as soon as the game tells you, we need to go deeper, I have to go deeper. Like, oh my God, all of this is a metaphor for psychoanalysis and trauma and like trauma processing. Wow. It would be way too cheap. It would be way too easy for the game to do it. Like they have to. Like at this point, they absolutely have to. With all the red herring, essentially, of the fact that none of this is real, right? They, at this point, just have to make it so that no, the planet is real. It's just a Silent Hill planet. Nope. They went full Silent Hill Shattered Memories to the point of and I'm spoiling you the whole thing because none of it matters. It is so bad and so disappointing. I might as well spoil it to you because there's just absolutely nothing to care about. In fact, I barely even recommend playing this game now because, like, yeah, the first impression, I would say the first maybe hour and a half or even 2 hours are amazing. Second biome is not as impressive as the first one. The game absolutely peaks at biome 1, 100%. Okay, I'm gonna put color on him. Enough. And it peaks, right, at biome 1, but it's still interesting all the way through to the end of biome 3, really. Now the problem, yeah, becomes the narrative, and the fact how easy the game is. So it stops being engaging, and it stops being engaging, and all you're left with is the narrative. All the audio logs become very obviously just like recordings of either monologues or dialogues, you know, that happened in some real life setting. They very obviously become all about psyche and not about alien world. And the game legitimately starts with the whole thing of, oh, this alien world, like let's talk about all these elements of this alien world, yada yada. And like, nope, it's not even about that. Okay, I'm gonna need my second hand. Stop. Okay. This would not have been acceptable even if I was not doing my stupid thing. All right. Now come on, let's go on another walk. Well, we still have a minute. So, what does this remind you of? It reminds you, well, first of all, it reminds you of Hellblade, which was annoying as one game, but now we have two games of literally just a woman going psychosis, right? Woman going psychotic. A woman going, what is even real? Like, yeah, wow, okay. So that was annoying with one game. We didn't need another one. Now we have Returnal. It turns out Returnal was the same thing the whole time. And I'm just not sure why this is supposed to be good storytelling. You know, just like a woman constantly going, what does this mean? I need to go deeper. It's almost as if I cannot escape the crash. I wonder if some kind of crash happened in my past, which I cannot escape from reliving it. I keep returning to the crash, you know? And the game will not stop beating you over the head with this shit starting from biome 4. It's all the game talks about, and no longer talks about alien sci-fi stuff at all. And then you start asking, well, okay, so what is this all about? Oh, it's just a metaphor. Literally, at the end of the game, you have to go underwater. You have to go deeper to find out the truth. That it was you, James Sunderland, all along who killed your wife. Only it's not James Sunderland, and it's not Silent Hill 2. You know what it is? It's Silent Hill, all right, but not 2. It's Shattered Memories. You are the daughter. No, you're not Harry Mason, you're Cheryl. And in Returnal, it's the same thing. None of this is real. It's all either a therapy session or just essentially like a metaphor for like processing trauma. You are, so what's the name of her? You are not Celine. You are not Celine. You are Thea, right? Her name is, I think. Like, you are the mom of the main character. You are the mom. You're not Celine. You are the mom, and you got in a car crash because you're a drug addict and you were like overworking yourself trying to get into the space program, and you weren't accepted because you're a drug addict. And so you were sleepy, you were drowsy. You got into the accident, car crashed, your daughter died, you survived. You imagined you dying and your daughter instead surviving and becoming an astronaut, just like you wanted to. And now going through this whole thing of, like, you know, memories of my mother being a shit mother. So you're basically experiencing trauma of mommy issues through how you expect Celine would go through all that shit had she survived the crash and continue living, but you died. All right. So you imagine what kind of trauma Celine would have had if she survived, but you died, and she became an astronaut, right? And she would have had all these mommy issues and abandonment issues, and just, you know, like the fact that, you know, her mom died and stuff. And simultaneously, you have the ghost of the real you, of Thea, right? Stalking you, looking at you, judging you. The astronaut, the spaceman, right? The spacewalking costume. Why is it so bulky? Well, because that's the real one. It's not the sci-fi one, not the imagining one that's in the game. That's none of this is real. Not the real one. The real one. Why does it look real? Why does it look old? Because it's iconic and because it's from the real world. That's what you, Thea, would have been. That's why it's old school. That's why it's the real one, not the sci-fi one. It stalks you. It judges you. It's the real you who knows that you're not Celine, who knows that you are Thea, or whatever the fuck her name is. You killed her daughter. You killed your daughter. And you couldn't process it, so you forgot about it. You ran away from it. Or whatever the hell you do with it, right? Well, you basically forgot, because the game directly tells you in the end that you forgot right before you fight the final boss, I think, or right as you enter Biome 6. Thea, who at that point still, I assume you would think is Celine, says, like, I know now. I know. Oh, no, it's after. It's after. It's after you kill the final boss. She says, I know now what all this is. I know now why I'm stuck in the loop. And you get the FMV well, not the FMV, sorry. You get the cutscene basically explaining to you that, yeah, you were in the crash, but it's not your mom. You're not the daughter. You're the mom. And your daughter dies, but you live. And that's the problem. So, yeah. It's just shattered memories. The shattered memories all along, you know. You're not playing as the person you think you're playing as. And in fact, none of this is real. This is just shattered memories, almost one-to-one. Almost one-to-one. You think you're, you know, in shattered memories, you think you're Harry. You think you're the father. No, actually, you're the daughter. You know, being in therapy about your father. In Returnal, you think you're the daughter. No, you're the mother. You know, being in therapy about basically killing your daughter accidentally. And it's all about processing guilt. The Returnal, it's about processing guilt. Whatever, denial, yada yada. Coming to the fact that, like another thing, right, is that Cheryl was processing the fact that her father wasn't even all that good of a person. And again, you, as Celine, you think, when you think you're Celine in Returnal, you are processing, you're learning, or rather, yeah, you're processing how really shitty of a mother your mom was, right? Just to learn in the end that, oh, I am the mother. I was learning, I was processing about how shitty I was as a mom this entire time. To my daughter that I killed, that I didn't even get the chance to, well, basically say I'm sorry to. Okay, guys. That's exactly shattered memories, right? Cheryl lost her dad that she loved, but she barely knew because she was a little girl, and now she grew up realizing that she didn't really even know her dad, but she misses him, and she loves the kind of person she imagines he would be. but that's not actually him. Like the Harry, right, in Cheryl's head, in Shattered Memories, is not even a real person. He's not even remotely close to what Harry Mason used to be like, right? Because Cheryl was like, what, 5 or 6 when he died? She knew absolutely nothing about him. And Returnal, so 15 years ago, right, on the Wii, the game came out. Fantastic. 15 years later, Returnal, 1-to-1, copy and paste literally the same story, and gets away with it. And I don't know, I mean, I haven't seen that many people even talk about Returnal in the first place, which makes me very happy that basically the next game of the same kind is coming out. I'm definitely going to play that, but I am not looking forward to the story now. Absolutely. I think they botched the story of Returnal tremendously. I think it's very, well, first of all, it's embarrassingly lazy and thievy, and the level of poeticism in which it is all wrapped in Returnal, which, by the way, it wasn't really wrapped in nowhere near the same level of like elevated poetry in Shattered Memories, and it was far more innovative when the game came out, and the game did not hide the fact that it was all most likely not real. It's the game literally at the very beginning of the game tells you it's all just a therapy session. Right? Like the whole psychology thing of Shattered Memories was way more honest and way more straightforward, less pretentious, less like elevated poetry, and the level with which Returnal does all those things is so cringe. It is textbook like cinematic Sony slop, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it as I was playing, as like the game literally devolved into all those things. And it would have been far less troublesome. Aini, I see what you're doing. It's a bunny over there. I don't know if you guys can see it. No, you wouldn't be able to see it. It's right there. Okay, I don't know. You probably couldn't see it. Anyway, the game movement, but I couldn't see anything else. And on stream, it's probably 300 times blurrier, right? So yeah, you wouldn't be able to see anything. Oh, there's a lot of bunnies here. I'm not surprised. Yeah, so as the game devolves into being actually rather boring and pretty god darn pretty easy, and the narrative just becomes so on the nose, all about Hellblade, just grade of look at me, losing my mind. What does this mean? I have to go deeper? What does this mean? Cannot escape the crash? I keep going back to the crash. What does the crash mean? What does it all mean? I have no idea. Such a mystery. And I just fucking eat my ass, video game. Your mystery is pathetic, and the level of poetic elevation kind of like built around it is just cringe. Now, it's a real video game, all right, though. You actually do play it. And however, it would have been nearly, 10 times better if the game past Biome 3 wasn't that mind-numbingly easy. Like, it's all front-loaded, like all the potential challenge of the game, because like you can get screwed by RNG a little bit if you don't get a decent weapon right away. Like the first half of the first biome can occasionally, you do need to play a bit carefully, right? But other than that, like, nah. So yeah, it sure is a video game, and I respect it for that. But yeah, it's not quite the same as the situation with Neo, for example. When that game came out, I played the second beta, open beta test of it. There were 2 levels of the game actually available. And I played those 2 levels to death. And I basically said, hey, I don't even care what else is in the game, you know, in the full game. This is like definitely one of the greatest games ever. Like, this is absolutely game of the year, most likely like top 3 games of the generation. And then the game came out, and those like 2 levels were like literally the only good parts of the game. The rest was just like copy and paste of the most boring, borderline procedurally generated garbage levels. And also, the entirety of the game had only like maybe 4, 6 would probably be an overkill even. Like, I don't want to be too generous. I think Neo legitimately had something like maybe 4 or 5 enemy types. At least it felt like. Maybe 6, okay? All right, but that's it. It was so boring to play that game past like hour 10. I was just done. I was like, when will this be over? Oh, god damn it. I'm almost out of battery. Well, that's it. Bye-bye then. I think I said everything about Returnal. Such a disappointment, honestly. A real video game, all right, but yeah, I'm sorry. No, it's not particularly great. Very promising, very cool for the first hour or so.